welcome everyone tonight. Thank you so much for being here. Behind me, you guys see 6th grade beginning band, which there's about 100 of them. And then you also see my concert band, which is our advanced band at Twality Middle School. And it is 8th graders mostly, but also some advanced 7th graders that decided to join the group early. And tonight we have a performance for you from them. And we also have some information for you about 6th grade band. Hopefully you got a little program. If not, there's more in the lobby. And it basically tells you about kind of what we're going to do tonight. So we have some information that I'm going to share with you guys about what we've done in 6th grade beginning band so far, and then what we're going to do for the rest of the year, as well as information about band, like that cadet drumline is starting soon. And if you have a 7th or 8th grader that's interested in learning how to be a percussionist, this is a great group to be in. If you have a 6th grader that is interested, talk to me about it, because I have had some 6th graders in it, but I will do it on a case-by-case basis. So if there's someone who really wants to do it and they really want to learn how to drum, that's a great group to start in. It helps out in their music reading for flute and clarinet and trumpet and trombone. And in addition to making them really good at rhythm reading, they start getting better at understanding instruments and how to play them. So even if it's a flute player, they can be in cadet drumline. And even if it's a trumpet player, they can be in cadet drumline. And that's something that's coming up starting next week. We have one practice. So you'll see that in your program as well. Tonight I'm going to start out with having beginning band play some of the music that they've done from the beginning of the year. So one of the things that I always do at this first concert is what was our first sound that we made on our instrument. And they don't even know that they're going to do this right now. But they've done it before, and we've done this in class many, many, many times, but they don't even know. And I'm going to show you some stuff, and hopefully you heard this at home, but some of the beginning sounds that they make, and then we're going to progress into where did they go from there, and where are they now. So this is some of their first sounds and their first songs that they played. So, clarinets, flutes, trumpets, trombones. Do you remember your first test you guys did?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah? Okay. So, trumpets, trombones. Will you guys stand up and grab your mouthpiece only? Just your mouthpiece. You're doing it all together at the same time. This is one of the first tests that they had to do in class, and it was to make a sound on their instrument. You've probably heard this at home and went, why are they doing that? But it really makes a difference. In order for them to play their instrument well, they have to learn how to control the mouthpiece. So you guys are just going to buzz low, and then middle, and then start with low. Okay, and then middle. Awesome, thank you. Sit down. Lovely, wonderful. You guys are great. Clarinets, I'm going to have you guys stand up. Clarinets had to make this wonderful sound, and I got to think of 30 or 40 of them at the same time making this sound. So if you were like, why is this happening in my house? 30 of them at the same time. Clarinets. Thank you. Lovely, wonderful. Thank you. And then you guys are going to do the head joint. We're going to go low, middle, high. Start with your low notes. Lows, please. Lovely. Nice job, folks. Nice job, sir. Your next thing you guys are going to do is hot cross buns. That's our first one. So, that was our sound that we had to make. That was their first actual test in band. Yes, they have tests. And that's how I can tell, did they figure out how to play on that mouthpiece thing? It's very different from what trumpets and trombones do versus the flutes and clarinets. So we have them split into different classes, brass players together and woodwinds together. And actually, if we did it the best, the clarinets would have a different class than the flutes because they're also very different from each other. But our schedule doesn't quite allow that right now. So we have woodwinds together, we have brass together, and brass, when they're buzzing, all of these guys, it's very similar to all of those guys. So luckily that works pretty well for them. So that was our first test, and that's why we did it. This is your first song. So we're doing the one that's on the sheet music. You're doing hot cross buns, so it's going to be 2 times. Okay? buzzing exercises, we have to learn how to control our mouthpiece. Is if we do not do that, we can't control the entire instrument. It's like we were only able to sing one pitch, and that's the only thing you could ever sing. That's why we have to do that on our instrument. If we can control different pitches on our mouthpiece, then we're able to control them on the whole instrument a lot better. So if you notice that your brass player can play like 5 notes and then they get stuck, it might be because they still don't quite have control over their embouchure. And that takes time to learn, and it takes a lot of practice. So don't give up, and try to encourage them to practice it, and then also just ask, like, Miss Hasawiki, can I come in the rendezvous? And have them come work with me on it, and we can definitely get it better together. But that's why we do that. What you just heard is Hot Cross Buns. You probably heard it at home. And it's one of our first songs that we do in band. The next thing we're going to do is perform a series of beginning band pieces together, and I'm going to bring up my 8th grade actors. The 8th grade actors are doing a pep talk together right now because they're trying to get psyched to come out. All right, and we're going to do a piece called Aunt Rody's Appetite. It includes a script, and behind me you will hear the 6th grade band play the different pieces of music. And then my lovely actors are going to act out their different parts. You guys ready?
Yeah.
Make sure you speak up.
Okay.
Yeah? All right. And this is your guys' piece, right? Ready? Cool.
Once upon a time, there was an old gray goose who lived on a farm. The farm belonged to an old lady who everybody called Aunt Rody.
Grey Goose is getting awfully old. I better cook him up for my holiday dinner before he gets too tough to eat.
Aunt Rody's neighbor on the next farm was Pierre, the French chef.
What can I do for you on this beautiful day?
I came to borrow your big roasting pan. I'm going to cook my old Grey Goose for my holiday dinner.
Oh mon Dieu, you cannot cook the old Grey Goose. Perhaps you will change your mind after you have eaten some of my cooked buns.
Those hot cross buns were very tasty, Pierre. But I'm still going to cook that old Grey Goose for my holiday dinner.
Can you be so cruel?
No, more cruel than I'll go marry. Haven't you heard the gossip about her?
What gossip?
Well,
Later that night, Pierre went to go visit the old gray goose.
Did you know, mon ami, that Aunt Rody was planning on having you for her holiday dinner?
Delightful. What is she serving?
You? Now quickly, run down to the river and take my rowboat and row away as fast as you can.
Early the next morning, Pierre went to go tell Aunt Rhody about the sad news. Just then, the old gray goose came waddling over the hill.
Don't cry, Aunt Rhody. I knew you wouldn't be mean enough to cook me.
oh, I'm so sorry you had to go rowing away in the cold night air.
Well, at least something good happened to me on the trip. I made a new friend. His name's Turkey Lurkey. Would you care to meet him sometime?
I certainly would. I certainly would.
A whole bunch of different beginning band pieces that they have that we learn each year, and some of them are folk songs, some of them are tunes that are from the US, some are from other cultures, and we typically have lots of beginning band pieces that only have a few different notes to start with, so that's what you just heard in a big compilation, and then the idea is to put it in a big piece of music, so then their first piece of music they learn, they feel like, oh man, I can do all of this stuff, it's okay, and it makes it a lot easier and more accessible. Their next piece of music they're going to do, I'm going to give them a break first actually, is another standard that we always do in beginning band. And next you see before you, my concert band instruments that a lot of them you wouldn't normally see in 6th grade. So I bring these guys here to demonstrate for the audience, but also for my 6th graders, so that they can hear and they can see what these different instruments sound like. So I wrote in your program about color instruments, and what it means is we start with basic 4. We start with flute, clarinet, trumpet, trombone. When we go into 7th grade, when we go into 8th grade, we start adding these instruments that you see right here. So Connor, you hold that up. This is a French horn, and you haven't seen that in 6th grade band, but some of these 6th graders behind me will be able to audition for this at the end of 6th grade. Mindy also plays that as well. Saxophones, hold up your instruments. We got a couple saxophones here as well. And those are 2 different kinds. We actually have 3. There's alto, tenor, and baritone saxophone. And they just play different sounding notes, but they're the same instrument, just like bigger and smaller. We also have bassoon on the very, very end. Abe is holding up his bassoon. And that's one that a lot of people just don't even know about. So we like to bring that out so you can hear what it sounds like. It's very unique. And I always need more of those. So if your student likes it and likes the sound of it, have them consider auditioning for that instrument. And then who else do I have? Oboe here. Alex, hold up your oboe. It looks a lot like a clarinet, but if you look at the very end, point to the reed for us, Alex. The reed on the very end is a lot smaller than a clarinet reed, and it is actually called a double reed because 2 reeds are combined together, and then you blow the air through those tiny, tiny reeds. It's very small. It's hard to see the opening. I also have some color instruments that are related to the ones you've already heard before. So bass clarinets. Are you guys up here? Can you hold those up? Bass clarinets. That is like a clarinet, but a lot bigger. So it's just the same thing, but lower. And it makes a completely different sound than the regular clarinet does. I also have a trombone up here, which you already know what a trombone is probably from seeing it up here. But I have another trombone, and then also some trumpet players, I think, as well. Trumpets. And also flute as well, Miss Tyler. And they're all going to do a little demo for you so you can hear what the instrument sounds like. And just so that if 6th graders wanted to know, they can go, okay, that's what horn is. That's really cool. Oh, and tuba. I almost forgot the most important instrument ever.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
It's like if you have a rock band with no electric bass. That's like band without tuba. So I'm sorry. Or I could say, I was leaving the best for last. Nolan, hold up your tuba. Because that is so important. It's like our foundation of our band. So that is Nolan. So I'm actually just going to have you guys start. And let's see. Do we want to start on the end? Abe, are you comfortable going first? Okay. So Abe is playing bassoon. On that specific instrument, you'll notice that on French horn, you can actually play really high and really low on it. So it has a lot of different range. So that's why we had 2 of them play, so you can hear the low and the high. gave them kind of a chop break for the moment and also was able to show you guys all those instruments. Again, we'll do a big after-school day where students can kind of do a special lesson after school. And during that time, we're auditioning them. It's about 2 hours after school, and we send home letters and everything beforehand before we do this. And if your student's interested in switching to one of those instruments, then they are more than welcome to audition, and they'll come to a big lesson day after school. I have a bunch of volunteers come in and help teach them a little bit about the new instrument and what they need in the meantime, if they really are interested in doing this for next year, is to be working on reading music really well. So regardless of if they're a clarinet or flute player, trumpet or trombone, if they start working on their reading skills, it will help a lot if they want to transfer instruments in the spring. So now that they have had a face break, we're going to play our second song, and then we will have a concert band come up shortly after that. Thursday night. Again, I will also be talking about winter drumline with these guys as well as some of these 6th graders, because if any of you guys are interested in learning how to be a drummer, then I do an awesome middle school group that you can be a part of if that's something that you're really interested in. 6th graders, basically I have to give you a recommendation and then we're good to go. So if you really want to do it, come talk to me about it, and I will give you all the information about it as well. I do have some flyers that I can hand out after the concert if you're interested in that. And then I also am going to point your attention to our thank yous on there on our program, as well as our donation information. Because as you guys probably realize, it costs a lot in order for us to put together programs like this, to be able to get instruments for kids in need, to go on field trips, and more we're having to do this with fundraising. And unfortunately, that means it's our community that has to do that. But what we've been able to do over the past couple of years has been huge. We bought a marimba last year because of the Twality Foundation and donations from parents, and that's around $5,000. We were able to buy a brand new bass clarinet, which one of my bass clarinet players has right now, Maddie. And we when we take care of instruments and we spend and invest on those, we really try to get the best quality so that it's going to last for a long time. So my next big project that we've started to fund this year is to get new timpani. And timpani are the really big kettle drums that percussionists play on, and they can last like 50 years if you take care of them well. But that also means they cost quite a bit. So if you saw in your program that costs over $10,000, it's around 12 to get a set of 4. And that's our next big project that I'd like to fund. We've actually raised more than I put on that program because something really changed in the last day. So we have over $3,500 raised just this year so far. And that's in the first quarter, basically, of school. So I'm asking, again, if you are able to donate or you know someone that can in a business, if you would be willing to help out with that. I have a donation box, and I have the Sujimura family planted in the center of the audience that has the donation box, and they're just gonna pass it around. So if that's something you're willing to do and able to do, thank you. And if you're not, thank you again for being here, and that's wonderful. And what we're trying to do again is buy a set of timpani that will last us a really, really long time, and that's something all percussionists and all of our band can use for many, many years. So that's our big project right now. You guys ready? All right, let's play a couple notes. And we're gonna get on the way with Charlie Brown. So let's do like B flat, B flat, and we'll go A, B flat, B flat, A. We need to play a few notes for a little bit. have one more piece for you guys, and hopefully you enjoy it as well. That one was probably one of their favorites that we had done this fall, and started to work on it. And we got to the point where we were like, oh, we have 3 concerts in December. We had tons of music ready to play. So we felt really good about putting a bunch of different music on stage. They did an entire pep band concert last week where they just played Stan's tunes, and they played Seven Nation Army, and they played Eye of the Tiger, and all that kind of good stuff. So we're doing a completely different set this week, and then we'll get to practice and do one next week as well. And I've appreciated how hard they've worked. So part of the reason why I wanted to get concert band in front of all of you 6th graders is so you can see what's possible, because they're only 1 year, maybe 2 years older than you. So even though right now it might seem like you only know 4 notes, I want you to keep in mind that this isn't very far off, and it's something that you guys should be thinking about. And I hope that I see you in 7th grade band next year, and I hope I see you in 8th grade band after that, because you guys are off to a great start. Yesterday, if your student came home and told you about practice, we cram all of them in the band room all at once. All of these guys right here. And it's a really fun time. They have to be extremely focused in order to get anything done, because it's 100 of them and just 1 of me. And they did amazing. I'm very proud of how focused they were yesterday. We were able to accomplish a lot in 1 practice, and they all were asking about today. Do we get to do that again today? And I was sad to tell them, no, we can't. But I was really excited that they were asking that. And I also loved that they were working so hard together and wanted to be a team. So that was really awesome. And I hope to see them continue doing that so that they can be a group like this as well in the future. So our next piece is called Carol of the Bells. You've probably heard this one before. And after you guys do this, I'm going to need some help, as you guys know, with chairs and stands and that kind of stuff. Right? Okay. And you guys can keep this one together on your own.